Hi, Paul. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
How fancy you look.
Well, we shower.
Well, I want to show you what I wore in honor of you.
Oh!
Perfect.
That's amazing. Well, we have to introduce you officially. So
Okay.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Paul.
Welcome to CP Time. And we have an amazingly talented friend, author, writer, you name it, with us today, Kevin Hammonds, all the way from where in New York are you?
Washington Heights. In the Heights.
In the Heights! So you are our second guest.
Who was the first?
Mark Fleischer.
Oh, okay. Not bad.
So
Not bad.
We're keeping our standards very high. You're right up there.
Yeah.
So what we do is, like, what we wanted to do with this is talk to all different kind of artists about how they're doing, what they're doing, and like a chance for you to like share maybe some insight on how you're surviving this time. But first of all, I'm sending you a hug.
Thank you. Right back at you.
Okay, so why don't you?
Do you want to?
How we met?
Yeah, please talk
Okay.
about that.
Oh, yeah. See, Paul.
I'll start, and then I'll let Kevin finish. Okay, so 2018.
Yep.
18.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Civic Light Opera did a festival called Spark. Well, they still do it, where they sort of encourage new writers to produce new musical works. And it was the first time they'd ever done it. And we had to audition as actors to be a part of it. And so there were a bunch of different writing teams from all over that you were sort of auditioning to see if you fit into one of their slots.
Yeah.
And I auditioned, and Mark called me and he said, there's a show I really think that, you would be right for. And I think that's how it started. Did I then audition for you?
You never auditioned for me.
Okay, so then I only auditioned for Mark.
Yeah. And
so then he put us, so then he put us in the cast of these workshops, and then I met you spring of 2018?
No, spring of 2017.
Oh.
In April 2017 was the New Works Festival.
Okay.
Was it for 2 weeks? I think it was for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we never auditioned. We didn't see the cast until the first day of rehearsal.
Okay. That's not terrifying at all.
I honestly, we walked out of that first rehearsal and we said, well, that's done. She's it. She's it. She's still it, Paul. She's still it. There's no one to come close. What?
I'll send you the check. No, I was terrified because we had never met you, but also because it was my first time ever doing a brand new show.
Mm.
And it was like, I didn't really know what it was going to be like. I just didn't know what it was going to be like. But I ended up thinking and experiencing that it's the most exciting thing you can do. Because
it's pretty crazy.
You just don't know what's going to happen. Okay, so you can chime in how you got there, because your story's kind of cool.
Is it?
Yeah, didn't you cold submit?
Didn't we what?
Didn't you just submit your script?
Oh, well, so we've been writing on the show, I guess, since 2014, maybe 2013. And we had our first kind of official reading at the Snapple Theater in New York. And Bruce Sabbath was playing Ronak. Bruce was in Company on Broadway, and he did, what else? He did the Yiddish Fiddle on the Roof. Anyway, he's a sweetheart. He came and saw Up and Away in Pittsburgh. But so he was Ronak, and he said, hey, there's this theater, Pittsburgh CLO. They specialize in 5 people, cast of 5 or less. I think superhero. At that time, the show was called Superhero. I think superhero would be perfect for them. I'm going to introduce you to Mark Fleischer.
Okay.
And so that was 2015, maybe. So we had a phone call with Mark Fleischer, and he said, I have this, I potentially have this festival coming up. Would you be willing to be a part of it? So this is kind of like we were courting him. And then we had a reading in 2017 that we literally, he probably doesn't even know this, that we decided to do. We did it in the same week that the NAMP festival was playing in New York, and we knew Mark was going to be there for that. So we scheduled a reading on the Monday before the NAMP festival started, so that he would come.
People who don't know what NAMP is, can you tell them?
It's National Association of Musical Theater, and it's kind of like a big board of regional theaters that kind of they do a festival every October where they present, I don't know, a number of musicals, and they present 45 minutes of the musical for regional theaters to look at and go, hey, I want to do that.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity. We've never been picked, but that's another story. Never mind. Anyway. But we knew he was going to be at NAMP, so we scheduled this reading the Monday before, and he came and saw it. And then Kristen could tell you when, but sometime later he said, okay, we want you to be a part of the festival.
Awesome.
And that's how it started.
So yeah, because Kristen isn't here, your other half of your writing team.
Kristen Barrett, yeah.
Kristen Barrett, how you two met, which is also kind of like what's that word?
Serendipitous. Serendipitous. Yeah. Yes. We met at BMI, which is not Body Mass Index. It's I don't know what it stands for. I have no idea.
It's a workshop of composers and writers.
It is. It's like the big one. It's New York City, and you have to audition to get into it, and you have to come in and either sing your songs or read your lyrics or to this board, and then they choose 15 lyricists and 15 composers.
And they pair you up.
Huh?
Do they pair you up, or do you pair up?
Well, at first they don't pair you up. You go in there, and it's like a workshop. It's like graduate class, really. And then they start assigning songs. And the first song they assigned was we had to write a happy goodbye. And then they pair you up with, since I was a lyricist, they pair us up with a composer. And our first assignment, and they do that for the whole first year. And our first assignment, Kristen and I got chosen to work together.
Yeah. And
from that first song, so the first year you're assigned to different songwriters every month or two.
Yeah.
And we had to do like a song for Blanche Dubois and Streetcar Named Desire. We had to do a comedy song from Angels in America. Willie Loman's suicide song, really kind of
hysterical.
It's an amazing course. But then the second year, you get to come back and you get to choose someone to work on a musical with the entire year. So
she's
I immediately.
A gem. She's a gem.
She's the best thing in the world. And we, around spring, of our first year, we were at 3/4 of the way through. And I said, hey, I'm not asking you to the prom, but should you want to go to the prom with me, I will take you to the prom. And she literally said, well, let's just wait and see. Let's just wait. She turned me down.
She was like, let me think on it.
Yeah. She said, now she would tell you that wasn't the case. She just didn't know it was the appropriate time to agree. So we agreed finally. And then the second year we worked on, have you ever seen the documentary King of Kong? King of Kong.
What's it about?
It's a documentary about Donkey Kong World Championships.
Yes, I have seen it.
Oh, wait a second.
I have seen it.
Did we see that? Did
yes,
we watch that?
Yes, I loved it. Yeah. That's why I was taking a minute to, yeah.
It is a fantastic documentary.
Yes.
Consequently, it was a fantastic musical that no one will give us the rights to do. But we wrote a musical of The King of Kong.
I'm obsessed.
We actually had the rights. We contacted the producer, and he said, "Yeah, go for it." And then, like a month later, before we could get the paperwork done, he contacted us and said Ben Stiller was making a live action movie of the documentary, and so we couldn't do it anymore.
Oh my God.
Who
And I
knows?
found that documentary. I call it deep diving, where I think it was like on Netflix or Prime, where you see something and then they're like, if you like this, you're going to like this. And you just keep deep diving.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, we watch so many documentaries, it's insane. What did we just,
no, we're watching the Dale, the Lady in the Dale
The
right
Lady
now.
in the Dale.
What is that?
Okay, wait. First of all, get ready to have your mind imploded 3 million times. Do you have, what is it on? Prime?
It's on HBO Max.
Oh, it's on HBO Max.
Okay, I don't have that, but I'll get it if it's good.
It's a documentary about, I'm gonna try to streamline this for you. And then we'll go back on course. About a man growing up in the 40s, 50s, who was a bit of a con artist and
counterfeiter,
like anything.
I'm already in. I'm in. Go ahead.
Okay, well, wait for it. So he has like quick marriages and children all over the country, and then he meets this girl and they go off together, and he's still continuing the scamming. About, I don't know, 8 years into their marriage, he decides that he's transgender, which is okay. I mean, it's a journey, right? But this is the part that just makes you go, what? She decides to help sell and market a 3-wheeled car.
It's called a Dale.
A car.
In the mid-70s.
It's so layered and so bizarre.
It's
that
the whole story of them trying to make this car and him stealing millions. No, I mean the company.
Yeah. Okay.
And her stealing millions of dollars from people,
but
and the law not catching her, and then catching her, and then her escaping.
It is a musical. It is a musical.
I'm here to tell you, documentaries make the best musicals.
Yeah,
I will say
you get a chance to see Lady and the Dale. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Lady and the Dale.
It's
a 4-parter. It's 4 hours. And we've only seen the first 3 episodes.
Well, we sat down on the couch. We that's all we watched basically.
We were gonna binge. We were gonna binge it, and we were like, okay, put on part 4, and we saw it doesn't come out until next weekend.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Totally off the other subject. We'll come back to what's really important. Have you watched WandaVision?
I'm obsessed with it. Obsessed with it. I love it so much. Love it so much.
Is your brain like, that is the most unbelievably genius? I mean, I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, and I hate that it's weekly. But it's also very good that it's weekly. It's like if Christmas were every day,
yes,
it would start to lose its appeal.
But I get goosebumps talking about it.
Do we know what they're doing next? What the next episode? What show they're gonna parody? Do we have any clue? I don't know.
I thought you knew.
I think it's gonna be 90s.
Well, 90s, so it might be.
It might be Full House. No, it might be Full House. You know, you're thinking family sitcoms. I think Full House might play into it.
But you know, Paul, I think this last episode, it was a combination of Family Ties and Full House.
Yes, I do too.
Well, I agree.
I thought it was.
They've shown some previews where she's talking to the camera like Modern Family. That's going to happen.
Oh, okay. It's so good.
Oh my God. It's amazing.
It's
And you notice how the footprint of the house always stays the same. The stairs are always in the exact same location. That's also probably logistics because they can't rebuild the set completely every single time.
Yeah,
but it's also just so cool.
It's just so.
And they're shooting those segments where there's laughter and stuff.
Yeah.
In front of they shot them in front of an audience. There was an audience there. They did it like a sitcom.
I have goosebumps. I could talk about this all night, but let's get back to more important things.
Yes.
Kevin Hammonds. Now, I know I go off the rails too much, but I want to ask you, like, so we'll sort of tie the bow up on Up and I said the title of the show. It went from.
I think everyone, if they're watching it, I think they know. For sure.
So, Kristen and Kevin wrote Up and Away, and I had an absolute blast. I lost like 20 pounds.
You were amazing. You were
I won't lie. I sweated off like 20 pounds during the show.
Yeah, I know.
And
how many characters did you play?
I
30?
No, I don't even know. But it was a blast. So then what happened to the show? Because you had exciting things. It went off.
It did. It had its West Coast premiere at Broadway Rose in Portland, Oregon last January.
And how was it received?
It was received really well. It won a few awards. It won. I should know this. It won something.
No, that's okay. It's okay.
But I also think I should check. See, if Kristen were here, she would. This is why I should do interviews with Kristen in tandem, because she knows all the answers.
Well, she is very detail oriented.
I think Danielle, who played Player 2, won Best Supporting Actress, if I'm not mistaken. But Chris,
my life.
But Chris, you weren't in Portland. How could you win that?
No, my brother lives there. I could have been.
Oh, that's right. We tried to get you, didn't we? We did.
Well, we couldn't because for a lot of reasons, I would have had to take off from school, and then I got Book of Merman.
Yes.
So I was able to still stay home and work. But I mean, honestly, I swear to God, I hope this show has another living moment, because I think it is absolutely one of the most hysterically funny shows ever.
Wow, thank you. We have a couple of what's it called? Things in the fire.
Irons.
Irons in the fire, yeah. And she was great. She was lovely, Danielle, and she was great. And the entire cast was great. And it was one of these experiences where we had nothing to do with it. We just showed up and watched it, which is always absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
But it was really, really good. And we made some huge changes. Huge changes.
Yeah. So tell me now. So tell me, that was just one of the. How many shows have you written?
Me?
Hundreds or something.
Me about 50. But how many good shows? About 20.
Well,
here's the thing. I started in the early 90s. I got cast as Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors at this theater in Carbondale, Pennsylvania, which is outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania. It's a dinner theater in Pennsylvania. And I went there, and I was about to do the show, and the producer called and says, a friend of mine recommended me, and he called and says, I hear that you also write murder mysteries. Could you write a murder mystery play after Little Shop of Horrors? Could you stay and write and direct the show? And I said, yeah, sure. So, and I wrote it, and it was called Pushing Up Dozies. And it was called based on the Dozie Awards. It was a murder at the Oscars. It was terrible. But he and I became the best of friends. And for the next 20 years, he was literally one of my best friends. And he would call and say, let's do The Odd Couple. Because he was overweight at the time. He's like, let's do The Odd Couple. So he was Oscar and I was Felix. And then he's like, let's do The Producers. And he was Max and I was Leo. And what else did we do? We did The Full Monty. He was Dave, I was Jerry, which I was completely wrong for. But so every year he would say, I need a Christmas musical. Can you write one? I'd be like, yeah. And he would pay me, and it was like a legit paying job. And he just, I don't know if you know about my show, Brenda Bly, Teen Detective.
Say it one more time.
Oh my God, Chris, why aren't you doing that show? Why aren't you in that show?
I don't know it.
I'm so angry now. I'm so angry that you've never been in that show. Okay. I hope we can do this for like 3 hours. My husband's about to kill me, I'm sure. But anyway.
Wait, say the title of the show again.
Okay.
I missed it.
The show is called Brenda Bly, Teen Detective.
Oh my God, I love that.
So in the mid-90s, I legitimately wrote a Nancy Drew Choose Your Own Adventure, like for Simon & Schuster. I wasn't supposed to say that. I signed a confidentiality agreement, but that was 20 years ago. It's fine. So I wrote a Nancy Drew for Simon & Schuster.
Wow.
And it was such a nightmare because they were so particular about what you had to do. You had to mention her blue Mustang by chapter 1. You had to be very specific. So it's kind of a catharsis. Afterwards, I wrote a parody of Nancy Drew for Carbondale, and it was called Brenda Bly, Teen Detective. And it was a play, but he had to cancel it because no one would come to rehearsal. It was for teenagers. It was for his teenagers, for high school students. And no one would come to rehearsal, so he canceled it. And then at the time, my writing partner in London, Charles, was like, hey, Charles Miller works for the London School of Musical Theatre, which is like a musical conservatory. He's like, we need to do a musical for their closing term. Do you want to write a musical with me? And so we wrote one called When Midnight Strikes that was done, and then No One in the World. That's how I've written so many, because we would do one every year. And then I said, hey, I have this play, Brenda Bly, let's turn it into a musical. And so we wrote this 50s kind of mishmash of Nancy Drew, Scooby-Doo, and Grease all together. And we did it at the school, and then it got picked up and was produced in London in a professional production. And then it was published by Samuel French. You can do it. You can do it tomorrow, Chris. You can do it in your own living room. And there's a character. So it takes place at, it's in the 50s, and it takes place at an all-girls boarding school. And the head mistress, her name is Vera Van Strander. And if I don't see you play that part in the next 2 years, I'm going to lose my mind. Done. Mark Fleischer, you hear that? Do Brenda Bly with Chris Latta.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't know how we got into that. So that's why I wrote.
I asked you how many you've done. Like you're prolific at writing. And I'm going to just pause for 1 second because we talked about it being a new show Up and Away, but the thing that amazed me, you and Kristen, but you mostly, because you were turning over pages like a crazy person. I mean, you would go back and I don't even know, like you'd be writing all night and you'd come in, you'd be like, try this. And I'm like, does he sleep? Does he eat? Like that. So it doesn't surprise me that you've written so much because it just pours out of you.
Yeah, but a lot of it is crap, as you can attest.
That's for all of us.
What was Kitty Birthday? Kitty.
Oh, I have
Meow Meow.
Kitty Bang Bang, Kitty Birthday. What was
Kitty.
the woman? Who was the woman who had the You never saw it.
No, I did not.
I had a stole that had like
what was her name?
Heads on it?
Yeah, she was like a debutante or like a socialite.
She was like Mame. She was like Kitty. Was it Kitty Meow Meow?
Say it again.
Was it Kitty Meow Meow? See, this is why Chris gets to do.
Kitty Meow Meow. No, anyway, her villain thing was her stole.
Her stoles came to life and attacked you.
Came to life, and I remember they put it on me one day in rehearsal, and I was like, it was like my dream come true.
Oh, I remember her name. Kitty Bon Bon. Kitty Bon Bon.
Yeah, it was like my dream come true because it was like constantly like doing stuff. But as I was playing with the stole, I could see like everyone in the room go, "This is a very bad idea. Take this away from her now." But then this character, for those people listening, it kept morphing. And at one point, my favorite was Kitty Birthday. Was this? I wish to God I could go back in time and film it. It was a young girl, like, who was like maniacal and like I forget how it all.
Would she have a birthday hat on? And
I like a birthday
well,
hat.
she was a party dress, and it was always your birthday. Like the idea was this kitty girl broke into this cocktail party and disrupted everything, and she was insane. But we could never get it right. So one time she was a cowgirl named Kitty Bang Bang. Then she was a socialite with venomous minks called Kitty Bon Bon. Then she was Kitty Birthday, and she was furious that no one was celebrating her birthday.
Well,
it's my birthday.
It's my birthday. And they had a pinata. And so on my birthday, on my real birthday, which coincided like really close to the opening of the show, the cast bought me a pinata. Which, rewind, my mother always made me a pinata for my birthday. So it was like full circle. It was very meta. Yeah, it was very meta.
Well, eventually Van Kaplan said, cut her. Just cut her. So she's not even in the show anymore.
No, but it was a fun journey. Anyway, so let me talk about this Charles Miller. How did you learn him? How can I befriend him? And how can I finally move to London?
I talked to him today.
Aww.
Because we are in negotiations for something so exciting that I can't even begin to tell you.
What happened to the other musical you were writing about that fascinating photographer? Is that happening?
Dear Shirley.
Yeah.
Dear Shirley is Kristen and I.
Yeah.
That's still happening. Yeah. We had a reading this summer with the Philadelphia Theater Company.
Nice.
They did a 29-hour workshop of it on Zoom, which was totally bizarre and weird. And, it's, as this is a platform to talk about the pandemic and what we do, for some reason, I could not write musicals this year. Just couldn't do it. And I don't know why, if it's, Dear Shirley was a stretch for us because it wasn't a comedy. It's a very, it's comedy in it, but it's a very real, kind of heartfelt, kind of sad story. I don't know if it was that, but I think what it really was is that I write my lyrics when I'm moving. Like most of Up and Away, every song of Up and Away, unless I wrote it in my hotel room in CLO, was written on the subway.
Wow.
And now I don't take the subway.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating.
And to be in a 2-bedroom apartment with a 7-year-old kid, I just can't write lyrics.
Yeah.
So that's there. We had a very successful workshop, and there's nothing we can do with it really until we get it in front of an audience. So that's with Kristen.
Oh, you have a lot going on.
Yeah, I do. But too bad I can't write songs right now.
Well, that's okay. I mean, I think there's a shift.
I think a break is good for everybody right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something that I do when I'm walking or when I'm on the train. The only time we wrote this, PTC, Philadelphia Theater Company, had a silent auction where they auctioned off a song by us. So someone paid, and we had to write a song based on whatever they wanted it to be about. And this was October, and I was riding my bike to work 3 days a week, and I wrote that while I was riding my bike. So again, it's so weird that I can only write lyrics when I'm in movement.
Do you remember them, or do you have to record it, or did you just have a memory that you know what it is?
A little bit of both. Like if I get too far into it and I really am excited about it, like when I was riding my bike, I would stop and sing it. I'll always have my own bad tune that I write it to, and then I'll sing it into the recorder, and then I'll type it out and send to Krista.
The same thing happens with me musically. Although if I don't record it, no matter where I am, it's in and out of my head. Yeah. It's gone. Yeah. If I think I had a really good idea and I try to recall it even an hour and a half later,
I'm the same way.
Forget about it.
And you're like, that was it. That was the one.
Yeah.
That was the one that was going to do it, and I've lost it.
$1 billion idea.
Yeah, gone.
Well, speaking of riding your bike to work, what is your day job? How do you survive this? I mean, our day job is teaching. That's what we love it. We love teaching, but it's also like our survival job. But what is yours?
I'm an assistant at an insurance broker. So I assist 4 lawyers in the legal department.
Yeah.
And but now I'm doing it from home. I was, we were here from March to June, and then we picked up and drove to Kansas, where Richard's family lives, and we rented a house in Kansas for 3 months, which I loved every second of it, every single second of it. I said to Richard, I'm like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back.
Did Richard love it?
Richard, he was like, oh, this is so much easier, isn't it? I'm like, yeah, it really is. And I was like, and then September rolled around. He's like, I think it's time we need to start thinking about going back. And I'm like, let's just move here. Let's just live here. We're here. And we rented this small house as Airbnb, and the owner would come by every week and pick stuff out of her garden. And she was so cool and so fun. And we asked her one day, halfway through, we're like, just let us know if you ever decide to put the house on the market. And like the day that Richard was like, we need to go back, she came up, she's like, oh, by the way, I'm putting the house on the market. So if you guys want it, you can have it. And I was like, Richard, please, please. And he was like, I spent my whole life trying to get out of this town.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, those, okay. And he also said, and it's too white for William. It's a very progressive, it's Lawrence, Kansas, which where KU is. So it's a very progressive, cool town, but it's
like college, university.
Yeah, but not very many people of color. And so we didn't think it was great for our son.
But how did William fare being, I mean, was it rural? Was it like?
We had the biggest backyard where we would camp out. We had to put up a tent in the back. We had campfires in the back. He would get up in the morning, and I would stay at the house and work, but he and Richard would ride their bikes. We had bikes, ride their bikes to his grandma's house and swim all day, or play softball, or play kickball, or mow the lawn. He just loved every second of it. Loved it. We didn't want to come back. But I will say, like when I was there, I'm sitting on the front porch, and like I would ride on the front porch, and it was just heaven. And I was like, I don't want to go back. And Richard's like, we need to, because, and he was very smart. He's like, it's summer right now, but the kids are going to start coming back next week, and they're all going to bring COVID with them. And the numbers are going to go through the roof. Yeah. And they absolutely 100% did. So we drove back, and I said, okay, I'll go back, but only if we agree that we give ourselves a year to save money and to move to the suburbs. Because my therapist was like, because I was like, I want to live here, and he doesn't. She's like, your 2 options aren't just New York and Kansas. Right. There's New Jersey, there's upstate New York, So we agreed that we would come back.
1, 2.
Exactly. So we came back with that agreement. But now that we're back, I love it. We love it here. I don't think.
Yeah, but what an adjustment though to go. I mean, I don't know how big your apartment is, to go from a house and a yard to an apartment. Is that a big adjustment?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this has not been easy. This has not. I'm sitting here and I'm telling you all the highlights. This has been a shit show. 100%. This has been a 3D shit show. Going through a global pandemic with a 7-year-old child has not been fun.
Is he at school or online?
So when we started in September, he was online because we didn't feel comfortable going back to the schools. But when we got back to New York, all his friends were in the playground on the weekends, and they would play together, and they would have masks, and all his friends had been playing together all summer. And we started to realize, they really are relatively safe. If they take the precautions with the mask and the social distancing, it can be done. So he started going back in person November 30th.
Yeah.
And it was like, manna from heaven. It was,
Really?
he was happy. I mean, we were all, I love my husband and I love William more than anything on this planet, but I am so sick of them. And they are so sick of me.
Yeah.
You know, we acknowledge it. And my son was like, I know, right? I love them. But he was so happy to get out of the house and see his friends again.
Sure.
And he was there a week before someone got COVID and they shut the place down.
So now he's virtual.
No, then he was virtual for 2 weeks. Then he went back for a week until someone in his class got COVID. And we got the call saying, your son was in close contact with someone who tested COVID. You all have to quarantine. So we quarantined and we tested and negative. And then he was out for 2 weeks. Then he went back last week. And now he's out again because someone else got COVID.
Yeah.
So oddly enough, you know, William and most children deal better with consistency, like they need a routine.
Mm-hmm.
But the routine now is I go to school for a week, I'm home for 2 weeks. I go to school for a week, I'm home for 2 weeks. Like he's adjusted to it beautifully.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're on the other side of it, we don't have kids, but we have all of our students that are. It's been definitely the most challenging year of our teaching.
Yeah.
And because we're only hourly employees, we're only paid by the hour. We're not like school teachers that get a salary, right? Yeah. We are working our butts off. I mean, we're on call 24/7 with these kids and parents. There's no boundaries.
And are you doing one-on-ones? Or are you doing classes?
Well, he does a lot of one-on-one.
I do a lot of one-on-ones because I teach private lessons. So I'll have a private lesson with a kid on cello or bass. But I do, you know, I have jazz band, I have ensembles. I taught music history today, and you have mostly classes, right?
I have mostly classes. I'll coach kids individually for like, you know, like we were preparing for the Shakespeare contest. I'll do one-on-ones for that. But yeah, mostly they're full classes. So I was really stuck this year on what I was going to do. I have this class called Rehearsal and Performance. And so I decided I was going to have each kid write their own cabaret.
Mm.
And they could pick their theme. And then I sort of chunked it for them. Now we're at the point where they're starting to film them. So
nice.
All 40 kids are going to have a half-hour cabaret.
That's a lot of cabaret for you to watch.
You can put it on the YouTube channel?
Yeah, we're going to put it on the YouTube channel. But
that's amazing. That's a really good way to like be creative and kind of think outside the box and get them excited about it.
So there's writing. They had to write stories that fit their theme. They had to pick songs that fit their theme. Then I made them all write a parody song. So I gave them the music and
Oh, that's great.
The original lyrics, then they had to write a parody. And then the final thing they had to write was a 2-person scene with themselves.
Oh, that's funny.
So we did a lot of work, and now we're at the filming part. But yeah, it's been definitely challenging,
and it's all online. It's all virtual. So Pittsburgh isn't open at all.
Not Pittsburgh public schools. There's kind of outlying districts who have the more money. The districts that have more money, they've been open. But the city schools, no way.
It's just too. I mean, for Kappa, where we teach, we're in such close quarters with the kids.
And also our kids come from all over the city on public transportation. So that's right now, buses, if a public bus here has 15 people on it, they won't stop, even if you're waiting at the bus stop. They're not allowed to have more than 15 people. They will go right past you.
So the kids, in essence, because the kids take public transportation, are going to be like, okay, going back home. You know, like they're
yeah, totally.
We're getting a lot of backlash right now.
Yeah,
teachers here are getting crucified.
Yeah.
For what?
Well, I mean, a lot of people are saying we're selfish or we're lazy. But there's no plan in place by our district. We're all concerned about our health naturally.
Yeah.
And specifically for our school, how are our kids going to get to school? What's the protocol going to be? There wasn't a lot of thought put into this, and yet they're like, the teachers need to be back, school needs to be open,
Yeah.
And nobody has a plan. None of us have been vaccinated yet, and it's
also
crazy.
like because of the nature of what we do. I mean, it's not like you can just sit kids at a desk in an art school. You got wind instruments, you got singers, you got. It's like, okay, well, come on back, but everyone sit behind a piece of plexiglass, and we can actually do more online than we could if we were in school.
Yeah, totally.
Looking back on like this whole time, what are the things you absolutely need to survive? And you can't say William or Richard because that's obvious. That's an obvious. What do you absolutely need to survive this time?
God. When you said this time, you mean the global pandemic?
Yes.
Yes.
What do I need to survive? Writing.
Okay.
Oh.
We're going around the horn.
Oh, do I have to give a different answer than last time?
Yeah, and you can't say playing music or your YouTube channel. You got to say something other than your passion.
Something else?
She's changing the rules. She's changing the rules.
That's what I do.
Okay. I'm going to say, this is tough. I'm going to say my clippers. Gotta cut my hair. Gotta have my hair cut.
Okay. I'm going to say streaming services. I don't think I could have survived without like Netflix and all that stuff.
That's true. I would say that too. I shouldn't say writing though, because that's my passion.
Yeah, you can't say that.
I would probably either say streaming services or my bike.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I never rode a bike in New York City. For the last 30 years, I've not ridden a bike. But when we came back from Kansas and it was still warm, I'm like, I'm going to get a bike and ride into work 3 days a week because I just had to get out of the house. And I was terrified of riding a bike in New York City.
I can't imagine.
But then 16 miles to my office, I would ride. And now I'm hooked. Now I absolutely.
Is it like main roads?
Some of them, yeah. Like I live at 170th Street and I ride down to 110th Street. So that's 60 blocks down Broadway. And then I get to the north end of Central Park and ride through Central Park to my office. And it's the most beautiful, gorgeous ride you've ever experienced.
Any bike lanes? Is this all?
Yeah,
bike. Do you have bike lanes?
We do have bike lanes. I mean,
okay.
we have bike lanes, not that people obey them. I mean, it is like the entire trip is 50% exhilaration and 50% abject terror.
I'm sorry for laughing.
No, because like our bike lanes in Pittsburgh are truly bike lanes. I mean, we're so like little
and
big towns.
There's like a partition on our bike lane downtown so that a car can't accidentally drift into the bike lane. Like there's actually barriers there in our bike lanes. There's a good 5-block radius in Harlem that the bike lane is constantly filled with cars that are double parked.
That's terrifying.
But also then there's that, but also 2 blocks away, I can go to the West Side Highway and go to Riverside Park and ride along a bike path along the river the entire way. And that's also beautiful.
Wow.
It just depends on how bad the wind is. But that's well, here's a question for you. What are the 3 things that you learned about yourself during the pandemic? Or not 3 things.
Okay. I learned, I mean, I'll say the first thing I learned that, I really love painting. I'm not great at it, but
I have your painting. It's in William's room. I'd show you.
I love it. And through that experience, I didn't have a great relationship with my dad, but through that experience, I kind of made a connection with my dad I didn't know that I had.
Oh, nice. Was he a painter?
He was an incredibly talented artist, but he suppressed all of his artistic endeavors because he was a perfectionist and because nothing was ever good enough. And But so in picking up painting, it was just like, let me just free my mind. Let me just try something new and see how it frees up other stuff. So I have to say that really surprised me about myself. Well, what about you?
I'm a better cook than I thought I was.
Me too, Paul. Good job. So now, are you the main cooker now?
No way.
No.
Good answer.
She's still Julia Childs here.
What about you?
I did make a Swiss roll last week.
You did.
So
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
From scratch.
Great British Bake Off. Great British Bake Off.
Best show ever. What did you?
I learned that I love to make the bed, and that's kind of embarrassing to say that I never made the bed before this, but I just never got it. I never ever made the bed, and neither did Richard. But now I cannot go with that. I have to get up and I have to make all the beds.
We never make the bed. That's a good.
Do it, Chris. You won't believe it. It'll change your life.
I think the other thing would be, I learned that the connection with nature during this time, like I actually would consider myself not a naturey girl, but the connection with nature and being outside and walking or driving or whatever is definitely one of the things that saved my sanity. What about you?
Oh, gosh. I got a lot of reading done. I'm usually so busy, and if I have free time, it's always a music-related thing, or, it's dealing with that. And so I appreciate some books that I read. I read a book called Things Fall Apart that was great, that I'd never read before. I read a couple of Malcolm Gladwell books. The reading part has been really great to catch up on.
I'm trying to do that now. I'm trying to
Is that your puppy behind you?
It is.
Oh, gracious.
Oh my gracious.
Gracious.
Jackie. She will not be in a room where she has to be in the room that I'm in.
Did she love Kansas?
She did love Kansas. She did.
Oh.
She did.
Yeah, the pets are the obvious final puzzle piece to this whole thing.
Yeah.
We don't know how our cats are gonna survive once we go back to the real world.
Yeah, once we go back.
Jackie too.
Us never being here, the cats are gonna go, "What's going on?
Where the hell have you been?"
I thought cats would be the opposite. I thought the cats would be like, you going to work today?
Our cats are like,
they're all over us.
You sit in a room and they're like, "We're here."
Yeah, that's the way Jackie is. This is the way she is all day. Wherever I am, she'll follow me.
I love it.
And I'll go during the day, if I'm going into work or have a meeting, I'll go into William's room and I'll shut the door and I'll come back and she'll just be barking at the door to
Down dog.
I haven't even talked about Sees the Show.
Yeah, I wanted you. It's on my list of things to ask you.
Oh, you have a list. Oh, nice.
I came prepared.
What was I going to say? That's what were we talking about? Oh, reading books. I thought the other day I was like, I had this moment I was trying to take a nap and I was like, what would this pandemic have been like without children? I was like, oh, I've gotten so much reading.
Shorter.
Huh?
The pandemic would probably been a little bit shorter.
How so?
I do think that kids are germ factories.
Oh. He didn't get it.
He didn't get it, thank God.
Look, he had close contact and didn't get it.
All right, well, good. I take it back then.
I mean, we're getting into a nice groove now, where he goes into his class and he stays at his desk, and I mean, I would have time to read if I'm basically doing 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
With this new show, Sees the Show.
So this has been like it really took off.
Yeah. Like the first time I saw, so David Carpenter, the producer, he produced Puffs. I don't know if you know that, off Broadway. It was.
Yeah, they're doing it.
Oh, they're doing it at CLO.
Yeah.
Or they're supposed to be doing it. Did you ever get to do Barefoot in the Park? Oh my God, that's devastating. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I was really.
Are they gonna maybe do it later?
See, originally they had sort of postponed it,
Well, they haven't
but
canceled it. They haven't announced that it's been canceled. Like some of the other shows, they've said
I'm
they're definitely canceled.
I'm feeling like it's wrong.
I'm
But I will tell you this. I will tell you this. If the first time I can go see a show, and I have a choice between Medea, Antigone, or Barefoot in the Park, I'm going to see Barefoot in the Park because everyone's going to want to laugh.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know what I mean?
I'm trying to sort of get my mind wrapped around that it's not like it's like preparing for the worst is sort of how my mind works. So I'm kind of in that mindset like I was having so much fun rehearsing it in my little world and getting ready for rehearsals and all the physical comedy. I was like so excited, and so I kind of have to like think don't get your hopes up because at this point I'm not even sure theater's coming back this summer. I don't
Right.
I don't think they'll be I don't think that most people will want to sit in the theater. I mean, there might be outdoor theaters and come fall maybe. That's all in my mind assuming that people really buckle down and they get the vaccine and we can sort of contain these variants and all that, but I sort of have to say out loud that I probably won't be working for another year.
Ugh.
Sorry for just like saying it hurts so much.
Ugh.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's surreal, but I like and but the seize the show thing. That's how we sort of got to talk about that. Has really how many have you done?
I think I've done 12 now.
My God.
I mean, we reached out to David Carpenter because we wanted him to produce Up and Away, and we had a couple of calls with him about Up and Away, and then he it wasn't for him, or I honestly don't know, because then the pandemic happened. But so
Yeah.
I Facebook friended him, and then he said he posted this thing about, hey, I've got this interactive choose your own adventure type of show. Email me if you want to watch it. And I watched it, and it was like everything that it hit every sweet spot that I like choose your own adventures. Like I wrote for Nancy Drew, the choose your own adventure, and it was a mystery. And I just wrote to him. I said, I have to do this with you.
Yeah.
This is perfect for me, and this is why you should let me do it. And this is what you did wrong, and this is what you can improve on. And he wrote back. He's like, absolutely, let's call, let's talk. And then within 3 days, I was signing a contract, and and yeah, it was rough at first because it was such a hard learning curve. Because it's, I don't know, Paul, if you know, but it's over Zoom, but it's using a gamiotics technology that you use on your phone to vote and to play mini games, and it's like a choose your own adventure video game live virtual theater performance. And it's it started out 3 of us as writers, and now there are 6 of us.
Wow.
And we're churning them out.
You really are. It's good to just keep going and going.
Yeah, like we're starting now. Yeah, yes, it's getting bigger. I can't say anything.
Yeah.
But it's getting bigger and bigger, and it will be a full-time job soon.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
Will it really? That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's cool.
How do actors get involved in it, or is it just David Carpenter's hiring? Because I saw the couple that a lot of the people look the same. Like, does he have a core of actors that he's using?
He has a core of actors that he's so loyal and he's so generous, and so he knows, and these are his friends.
Yeah.
And a group of people that was there from the beginning. So he's very loyal about
That's nice.
Keeping employing them. But I don't worry, I got your back, Chris. I'm looking out for you.
Thank you. But I think it's a really, what they're doing right is that it's not just to sit back and watch another Zoom. That's what they're doing right that nobody else seems to have jumped on board with. And if there are other people that have jumped on board, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So that's what we need, because it's like everyone's a little zoomed out, everyone's a little like, and the interactive thing is fun, and you know, they're also promoting the hell out of it. I
Do you
mean,
get emails every day?
no, not in a bad way, but like
Yeah,
on social media, I mean, they're doing it up, man. And
that's just
Broadway World picked it up. I mean, they're getting a lot
yeah.
of really good publicity, which is great.
It's amazing. It's like it started out four. It was David, Caroline, me, and Jacob, four of us, and we had like an end of the year kind of holiday Zoom party, and there are like 40 people on the Zoom. Like there's a marketing department, there's a graphics department, there are people that I don't even like never met. I haven't met any of them.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. Like
Yeah.
I work with Jacob and Caroline and David and Attilio every day, and we're so tight, and I love them all so much, and we have such an amazing time together. Like you talk about, well, Neil Simon wrote a play about it, Laughter on the 23rd Floor, about a writer's room.
Yeah.
And so every morning at 10 a.m., we have a writer's room Zoom. And I just adore them all. And we have such fun. And it has saved my life. It has
Are they
saved my
all
life.
in different locations, or are they based out of the same place?
Caroline is in Vermont. David and Jacob are in Peekskill, New York. Attilio and David and I are in New York. Yeah.
That's wild.
So cool.
But like one of our stage managers is in South Carolina, and
Yeah.
our sound designer is in Iowa, and it's
Amazing.
crazy. But it's literally, it is, it it saved my life this summer, this whole year. It's crazy.
You look super healthy and super fit. Are
Oh,
you?
do I?
You do. You do actually. Like, is it the bike riding? What is it?
It was the bike riding, but now it's too cold to bike ride.
Yeah.
But we're on keto. We're on the keto diet.
Oh.
Like Richard, God bless him. Richard was like got to the point. He's like, okay, enough is enough, because you know the what they call the COVID-15.
Yeah.
So he bought a stationary bike, and I haven't gotten on it, but he does. But we do keto.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's very kind. You look good too. Your hair looks very fresh.
Thank you. I guess I have another question for you, which is,
Okay.
what is, because I always say this to my students about, I think Paul does too, about the importance of self-motivation, and like as an artist, why it's so important to be like self-motivated. Like, what would be your advice to a young writer or somebody? How do you self-motivate during this time where it feels like you're so isolated? It's totally overwhelming. You know, I say to my kids, this is my advice: make your own opportunities. That's why I'm having them write their own shows. Put it up on social media in a positive way, not in like a 30-second TikTok way. Make something valuable. But what would your advice be?
Gosh, I always tell myself when I don't want to do something. I mean, for me, a deadline is like so helpful because I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So like, I have to meet a deadline, and so if I give myself a deadline, that's helpful. But if I don't have one, I always tell myself to just put sand in the sandbox. And then once I put the sand in the sandbox, then I'll start building a sandcastle. But right now, I just need sand in the sandbox.
Oh, I like that.
That's heavy.
Because it's just it's heavy, right? It's just like it doesn't have to be, meaning it doesn't have to be perfect. Like just get it on the paper is what I'm saying. Just put something on the paper, and then once you see it,
Yeah.
then you can start to shape it and perfect it and fix it. But you have to get it on the paper first.
Yeah.
That's probably what I would say. And also ignore, every positive thought I have about my writing and about my talent is superseded by 50 negative thoughts that I'm useless and I'm a joke.
He's a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Most of us artists we tend to do this dance with ourselves.
100%.
You know.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. The dance of like,
you're the best.
You're the best.
Greatest,
you're the worst.
You suck.
Yeah.
You know what it's called? This is what I call it. I'm the biggest piece of shit at the center of the universe.
I love that. Now that you need to write lyrics to. I'm the biggest piece of shit. I love that.
Yeah. It's so true, right? It's like this dichotomy of
totally,
I'm the best, I'm the worst, I'm the best, I'm the worst.
You are amazing to me. You are.
Oh, stop it.
No, I'm being serious. And I'm giving also mad love to Kristen. I adore her. I think she's amazing. I love you. I think you are like this diamond that some people know is a diamond, but the universe needs to know you're a diamond, because I think you are so funny and so clever. I want everyone to know about you.
Same.
It'll never happen.
Look.
I know. I'm serious though. I admire you so much, and I think that you are like a fountain of funny. I just love that about you. And not just funny, you're a fountain of talent. So I wanted you to be here, and I wanted you to share like everything that's going on. And I think your husband's amazing.
He is amazing.
Child is amazing. I think you have like the most amazing home. Your pictures of your family are like the most beautiful, loving family ever. And
well, you don't take pictures of the terrible moments.
No,
only
that's
the good.
right. Filter. Yeah.
I said this to my therapist the other day. Like, I've been the past 11 months. Has it been 11 months since we've been in this?
Yeah.
Garbage. Yeah. Almost a year. Like, it's been a nightmare, right? It's been truly trying. And today was not the best day. Today was a hard day. Yeah. But I know that probably tomorrow will probably be a better day. And maybe a great day. Just like the day before yesterday was a great day. Like, who knows? But like comparatively to the whole world about what's going on, I have it very, very, very easy. I am very fortunate because we can't go out to eat, because I can't go see Broadway shows. I've paid off all my credit cards. My credit rate is through the roof. I've lost 15 pounds, and I found a writing job. What? Like, that's okay, right?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly fortunate. I know that. I just need to remember it more.
Any other questions? Well, we end every episode the same way.
Gosh.
First, we're going to give you a major shout out and major applause, because you are a gift. And say, I love you.
I love you too.
What is happening?
Joining us. That's how we end. We always end. Yes. Gross. Get a room.